Your players have saved the village from the undead warlock, and now they're off to the capital city in search for a new quest and even bigger adventures. What will they find on the road to the capital? In this video, I'm talking about travel encounters and drawing a fantasy roadmap. Now, drawing a roadmap for your D&D table is easy enough. A couple of squiggly circles for trees and a jagged line to indicate the actual road. You can add details like a grass texture or a fallen log, whatever you need for the encounter your players will face when going from one location to another. I really love these kinds of moments at the table. The players are trying to get to their destination. They have some idea of what to expect once they arrive, but there's a long road to travel before they get there, and then you get to throw down this battle mat and have an awesome, unexpected encounter along the way. Now, as the DM, I could just say it takes you a week of travel to arrive at the capital city, but that's no fun. You know, we play D&D to go on an adventure, and a big part of that is traveling from one place to another and encountering the dangers and the roadblocks along the way. So this month on my Patreon, I'm releasing a collection of 12 travel encounters. It's called Flick's Silverpen's Guide to the Perilous Passage. And I want to tell you about my thought process when creating these encounters and also draw the 11 by 17 battle map that's going to get printed up all nice and be included with this guidebook. So even though the players are traveling through the wilderness because they are on a path, it's not exactly wilderness encounters. Of course, they could come across a dangerous monster or beast that is looking for dinner, but really, they'll be expecting to meet other travelers on the road. And this opens up a lot of interesting opportunities for fun encounters. Of course, there are some classic examples. The troll that requires payment to cross its bridge. Maybe the players are ambushed by bandits or goblins, or maybe they discover someone who was ambushed and are given a quest to go rescue an innocent person that was captured. On the road, the players could meet a traveling merchant that has some useful items for their adventures to come. Or maybe there's a caravan of people fleeing in the opposite direction, an ominous foreshadowing of what awaits them in the city further down the road. One of my absolute favorite things to do for my D&D games is to take these classic tropes and put a fresh or interesting spin on them. So for example, instead of having a big toll troll that's guarding a bridge or a group of goblins, I have the Iron Brouhaha. It's a bunch of goblins that are obsessed with covering themselves in metal armor, so they require payment in metal. So when the players come across these goblins, they must pay the toll, and if they do, they're allowed to proceed. But if not, the entire group of goblin dog piles or like goblin piles on top of the players in a brouhaha of scraping metal. Or instead of meeting a typical friendly halfling who's selling healing potions from the back of a donkey, the players meet a pair of wandering elementals. One fire, one water. They're best friends and they help each other craft unique and powerful items. But the trick is you have to make the sale without them starting to argue, because then their inventory will evaporate in a cloud of steam. So just by combining some of these classic ideas or making it just a little more fantastical, it's pretty easy to come up with something fun and unexpected. And the wonderful thing about playing D&D is that you never know how your players are going to interact with these encounters. They could hide from the armor-clad goblins and let them pass uneventfully, or they could end up joining the group and leading them to an iron mine for a chaos-filled adventure. So I'm trying to come up with these 12 ideas, but because I don't know where your players might be going, I can't write the encounters giving helpful information about their destination. But that just means I get to make a lot of unique and fun encounters, things that could work as a way of directing your players towards a new location, or, they could just be fun distractions. For example, one of the encounters in the book has the players minding their own business, traveling down the road when a giant comes storming towards them. At first, it feels like a super dangerous encounter, this huge giant running right towards them, but soon they realize that the giant is actually being chased by a bunch of gnomes with crossbows, and apparently the giant sat on one of the gnomes, and now the little builders want revenge. So, this encounter could be a great introduction to a gnome-filled city that the players are headed towards. Another example is the players are making camp for the night when they hear this strange, eerie bell ringing echoing nearby, and a spectral boat appears to float down the road, and it's captained by a skeleton with glowing red eyes, and the skeleton offers to take the players to their destination within the hour for only 2 gold coins. Obviously, it's a great deal and would save them a week worth of dangerous time on the road, but they'll be traveling through the Gloom Tide, a realm of eternal night where many terrifying monsters lurk. So this could be a short interlude, but it could also be a wonderful place to revisit later in the campaign when one of the characters dies and the other players have to go into the Gloom Tide to rescue them, to bring them back to life. So a big part of the Perilous Passage collection is making the encounters fun from a combat or a role-playing approach. The games I run usually have a good mix, but I never push my players into combat. And I just think it's fun to create encounters that can be tackled from a variety of different approaches. And I find it's usually super easy to get a sense of how your players are feeling, or just know how they like to play in general. So do they want to fight, or would they rather talk it out? It's no problem to change up the encounter based on that. It's easy to make the armored goblins more aggro and vicious if the players want to scrap, or maybe they're more goofy and non-threatening if the players are reluctant to battle. I'm just trying to make these encounters super useful, and I just can't wait to hear how you DMs use them in your games. Okay, I've been drawing this map in Photoshop, just a simple, useful battle map that can be thrown down on the table for any of these encounters in the Perilous Passage, or any of your own encounters for that matter. The zine is going to come with an 11x17 printout, but you can also sign up for the Patreon at the digital level and get the PDF of the book with the 12 encounters, as well as the map to use on virtual tabletops. So yeah, check out the link to the Patreon down in the description for more info on the Perilous Passage. Hopefully you can tell that I just love coming up with this stuff, so making a collection of these travel encounters just seemed like a fun idea. If Flick Silverpin's Guide to the Perilous Passage sounds helpful or useful to you, please check out the Patreon. If you sign up, you also get access to a ton of other adventures and guidebooks, or you can find all of this stuff on my shop, which is also linked down in the description. Hopefully you found this video interesting and entertaining as well. I would love to hear about your favorite travel encounters, whether you've run them yourself or you've been a player in them. Please leave some comments. I'd love to hear about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!